My mother, like I always tell people as an adult,
Don't get that too much away for free.
no, why you can't? Wait a minute.
Fact for right now, just right now.
But my Twitter is Lady M417. I'm not going to sit out on this. They have had to be the strength in their family. So that whole being soft and vulnerable and all that, we don't do that on my own side.
Mhm.
We don't do that shit. Anything else
How do you begin to let someone in that armor over me? Seriously, all jokes aside, and it was
in front of certain guys. So
war, basically. Not come on now, party or I don't want to say inability. Basically, prove that they can't be defeated. And getting the respect you guys deserve, and of course, like on everything and all levels. And for a long time, black women, or still to this day, black women are the nurturers, they're the protectors. But who protects the protectors?
Nobody.
Think about this. Nobody. Okay. And how does that make you feel?
Nobody protects us. Oh, see, no, I'm not ranting tonight. I'm not ranting
Go.
tonight.
This is seriously.
It's tough because just like you said, that we're the nurturers, we're the protectors. When we're doing the best that we can. We're doing everything that we can to protect our men, our children, ourselves, but we don't typically have anybody to protect us back. I mean, black men, some black men will say that they do protect black women, but they really don't. I mean, case in point, look at the last few weeks, the back and forth situation that Terry Crews and Gabrielle Union have been having on Twitter. I think it was, even to the point that he went up there, tried to clean up that so-called whatever, his slip of the tongue or whatever he wanted to call it. And D Wade had to jump in there and be like, can somebody just take his phone away? Because, sir, you already fucked up the whole situation.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have just not said anything at all.
Yeah. And the thing with the whole Terry Crews thing is like, it's like if it would have been a one-off thing, you could kind of explain away. Maybe he didn't think about it. Maybe he was just talking about it. But it's like, I don't know. I
My
feel
thing
sorry
is,
for bro.
it's okay for him to have had the experience that he had. No one is taking that from him. Nobody's negating that, right? But then when people came for you, nobody said that you were wrong to say what you said. They just felt that because of how you said it and when you decided to say it, it kind of contradicted everything Gabrielle Union was going through with the same company. And instead of you just taking, accountability for that, or just acknowledging that, oh, you know what, maybe that was kind of not the appropriate time for me to say, or maybe I shouldn't have, put it in that type of context. He turns around and he goes and he puts a tweet, oh, the only person he has to please is his wife. Then bitch, only talk about shit that concern your fucking wife. Don't talk about stuff that concern other women or other females that you don't care about pleasing. And then the backlash kept getting bigger and bigger, that he had to come all the way back, threw Kevin Hart into his mess just to kind of feel like he's giving some type of an apology.
Yeah. Derek, he is not someone who, I don't know. He's just not that smart. That's all I can think. That's the only thing I can lay it. And because if you can't understand, like, even if that's not your situation, nobody's sitting there saying to lie or fabricate that it was your situation. But if you can't understand what that sister was going through in that, and realize, you know what, let me just support her. Even if it's a support in the way of like, I can't believe that she went through that. I feel sorry for what she went through, but it's just to consistently contradict and go directly against what she said and what she went through to kind of make it seem like, no, it's not possible just because I didn't go through it. It's
or
like,
even if you just did not comment on it at all.
Yeah, that's always the thing. Is
not said
to
anything. Yeah. It's okay. You could just shut the fuck up. You could just be like, "This is an ongoing investigation, and I have no comment," and keep life moving.
Yeah. So I mean, outside of that, like we have that where black men don't typically support, at least verbally, and I think there's a lot of, and I could speak to even what I see with black men is that they'll do it in publicly or around a group of other black men and talk about what black women go through. But I mean, we won't do it publicly. We'll do it privately. But like, where's the public support? Like, I don't know. It's just, and don't get me wrong, there's some black women who bash black men online and on Twitter and everything else too. Yeah, and
I don't
that's
agree with
wrong
that
too.
either.
But
and that, Shea Butter Twitter and the fake feminists, because
did you say Shea Butter Twitter?
I did say Shea Butter Twitter. Don't come for me, kiss my ass. But Even the fake feminists, quote unquote feminists, like I don't subscribe to that at all, these new age feminists, because you can be pro something without bashing somebody else. I'm not a fan of bashing our black men at all whatsoever. I love black men, but y'all are just infuriating sometimes, and we just sometimes it just gets to be too much, because where is our defense? Like, we don't get defended. We have to defend each other, or we have to defend ourselves, and it's so hard sometimes
Mm-hmm.
out here. Like, I get it when women are like, yo, I'm so frustrated because black men will not speak up for black women.
And so when you see that, and like you said, with how black women have to do it for black women, and then even some of them tear each other down, but like when you see specifically black men, because that's what I want to kind of focus on, is what as black men we can do to better support you. What are some of the things that you would like to see? Of course, coming out verbally supporting and everything, but even more than that, like I felt like, for example, the whole abortion thing that came out, and I know that's not just against black women's bodies, it's against all women's bodies, but
Mm-hmm.
not that many black men have spoken out against that at all
Mm-mm. And if they
publicly.
have spoken out, it's been about, oh, she better not kill my kid, or if my
Exactly.
wife did some shit like that, and all this blah 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 blah. Look, if you don't have a uterus and two ovaries, you cannot say shit about what I do with mine. Point blank period. Even if you did, you cannot tell me what to do with mine. It's my body.
Yeah.
I can choose to do whatever the fuck I want to do with my body. Especially with the whole Planned Parenthood conversation, a lot of people felt like when they started talking about shutting down Planned Parenthood and removing funding from Planned Parenthood, a lot of people thought Planned Parenthood is just in the ghetto. It's just in the hood. Like, that's where we go get our abortions, and that's where we go get our, which abortions is a very small percentage of Planned Parenthood. It's not even a full 50%, ain't even close to that. But a lot of people felt like, oh, well, we're going to shut it down in the hoods and the ghettos and stuff like that. And, now y'all can't get abortions and all this other stuff. And there were conversations of, you know, um, government assistance and all that other crap. And I'm like, do y'all realize white people make the majority of the demographics that require these services? It's not
Mm-hmm.
us. We're a minority for a reason. Like, we don't make up the grand demographics that require these services or whatever. But yeah, a lot of black men did not speak about the abortion thing at all, because I don't know. Maybe some of y'all didn't care. I don't know. It. I mean, I had conversations, but with the men that I had conversations with, it was more on a conservative Christian. What happened now? You did that. Conservative Christian or something, that type of belief system. So they felt like, oh no, this is not what God wants you to do, so you can't do it. And of course, my little eyes rolled till they couldn't roll anymore, and I just walked away from the conversation. Like, I just couldn't have the conversation anymore.
When you with conversations like that, I can only imagine how frustrating it is. But do you feel like, because I can speak to like what I see, is I feel like a lot of times men don't speak from a position of trying to gain understanding. They just speak from, this is what I know, this is what I think it is. Like, I don't feel like often we slow down enough to try to understand women. And
No.
that's because y'all
Be-
emotional and confusing. No, I'm just playing. Let me not do that on something that we're in power.
Women are emotionally based. Look, we can keep it a buck. We are emotionally based. As
Mhm.
much as we try not to be, that's just how our genetic makeup is. Like,
Yeah.
everything that we do is emotionally based, whether it's anger, love, whatever the case is. And because of that, we can be unstable creatures at times. I can say that. But I don't know if it's a fear of trying to understand women, or just y'all just don't have the patience to try to understand women. But I think conversations don't happen, and I'm not just talking about conversations between a man and his woman, but talk to your mother, talk to your sisters, talk to your friends, your cousins, and try to gain some type of understanding on how they navigate through everyday life.
Hmm. I feel that. I feel that, and that's part of what I try to use my platform for. I do. I know I joke a lot, but um, when you hear like feel protected, what does that mean to you? What does feeling protected look like and mean to you?
Protection for me is my dad.
Mm-hmm.
my brother-in-law, well, my brothers, my friends, because I hear a lot of women say that they don't feel protected by black men. And I try not to leave my protection up to the masses, I guess I'm trying to say. Because in my circle, I'm very much protected. I don't have to ever worry about stepping foot out of my house and having to worry about somebody trying to disrespect me and not being able to call any one of these people and be like, yo, this will happen. They come handle it for me. Granted, I can handle myself, but um a lot of women, a lot of friends of mine will say that they feel like they have no protection from black men, because we'll be walking to the gas station, for example. I hate going to the gas station. It's the one place I will not go, if I could help it. But you go to the gas station, dudes are like trying to talk to you, they're catcalling, whatever the case is, and other men will see this and they'll see that you're uncomfortable and nobody will say anything. They'll just stare and just look at it. It's like nothing.
That is a problem, and I wonder if it's a thing where people, like, we've normalized it in a sense. So like even the ones who see it and kind of can realize you're uncomfortable are just like, oh well, as long as they don't touch her. So I don't know, but that
Oh,
is
even if you
definitely.
get touched, they don't give a fuck.
Oh
They'll
really?
turn the other way or they'll record. You didn't see what's this little boy's name? The boxer, the one who hemmed up his baby mother
Oh yeah, yeah,
down
yeah,
here in Miami during Super
yeah.
Bowl weekend. The dude that was sitting right next to her politely got his ass up and ran off the other way, while this man hemmed up this woman. Like, granted, I get it to some degree that you don't want to get involved in situations like that. Particular situation is a domestic situation, and I get it because you're putting yourself in some type of danger to some degree, because dudes these days, they cannot handle embarrassment or what they deem to be embarrassment. Like, they can't handle somebody having an upper hand against them, whether they know you or not. So it's like a lot of times they get the person who steps in trying to be a gentleman gets retaliated upon versus, um help in the situation. He makes the situation work. So I get that to some degree, but at the same time, it's like I've seen situations where women are literally being disrespected and dudes just standing around. Like, we literally have to get in there and handle that shit ourselves, from the club to wherever we are. Like, we have to, we as women have to basically combine our own forces. Sometimes I don't even know a bitch. Like, I'll be like, girl, come on, let's go. I'm gonna walk with you, so you're not by yourself. Because dudes will not, like, it's, don't get me started. It's frustrating. It's frustrating.
And no, and you're fine, and that's the stuff that we need to hear, and that I hope, like, in doing this series, that people like get to hear that from a woman's perspective, because I think often, I'm not saying this is me, or I'm not trying to categorize everyone, but like, we do see women help each other and we think, oh, they're good, and that's wrong. Like, that's not right to do, to just sit there and think, oh well, she got a girl, they good. Like, no, who has her girl, who has her? Like, no one thinks about that. we
If
have
I'm
we
out, I'm typically a loner. I'm typically by myself. Like, if I'm going to something, an event, whatever the case is, I'm almost always by myself, right? I'm always driving myself, getting there to myself. If any of my guy friends or whoever is there, there is no way in hell Marla is walking to a parking lot by herself. Marla doesn't even walk to the valet by herself. Marla's car gets pulled up. My boys will come inside and be like, oh, your car's outside. Like, that is unheard of. That's why I say my protection is more internal, my inner circle based, versus
Mhm.
I'm going to expect somebody, a complete stranger, to look out for me. You know what I'm saying? Because they'll see me and I'll be like, oh, well, she's independent. She can do whatever she wants. That's the other thing. That's the other downside of quote unquote being strong black women, is the fact that our male counterparts sees us as too independent. So they're like, oh, you don't need a nigga, you don't need a man, you can do it by yourself. Bitch, that don't mean I want to. Like, what the hell? I could change the tire, but you think I'm not gonna call my dad if my tire gets
Yeah,
flat? Hey, pops, I have roadside assistance, but still, I can change the tire, but that doesn't mean I want to change the damn tire. Like, be a gentleman, you can do it. Like, what the hell?
yeah. How do you balance, like, being strong but also being vulnerable? Because, like, a lot of
Ooh,
people look at vulnerability as weakness, and it's not. Like,
I
vulnerability
do.
in a lot of ways are strength. That's why I wanted to talk to you. But like,
I
how do you? So how do you balance it? Like, how do you? Is it something you consciously have to say? All right, I'm gonna try to be vulnerable in this moment, or is it something that you find happens natural, and then you're kind of like, wait a second, what am I doing? I'm being vulnerable. Let me go back to the strong black woman. Like, how do you balance
Oh, so you heard that Urban Sweet episode. So this is why you plotted on me.
that?
This is why you plotted on me. Whew, Lord. And Taya's gonna be like, she hates this question. I hate this question. Um, I don't. Vulnerability is not something that comes easily to me at all. It is not. I will fight that shit tooth and nail not to be vulnerable around people, especially if I don't know you. So to answer your question, yeah, it is a. I literally have to make the decision to allow myself to let these walls collapse a little bit, just to allow myself to get into that space of vulnerability, because I don't like it. I don't like it at all. My
That-
strength is my armor, literally, in a
do
lot
you
of
not
ways.
do you not like it because, well, clearly that's where you feel safe in, but is that something that you had to learn to feel safe in, not being vulnerable? Did the world teach you that, or is it something that you think you would have had regardless?
I mean, I think it's hereditary to some degree, because my mom is a very strong person.
Mm-hmm.
My mom is not. My mother, like, I always tell people as an adult, I learned my affection from my dad, because my dad is an affectionate person. My
Okay.
mom, because she comes from a family of women, there's hardly any men on my mom's side. They have had to be the strength in their family. So that whole being soft and vulnerable and all that, we don't do that on my mom's side of the
Mm-hmm.
family. We don't do that shit. Like, even when we're crying, even if we cry, it's not like we're no, it's like strong silent tears type situation. But so to some degree, I think it's more hereditary than anything else, and it's just as I've gotten older and had my own experiences, it's just I've added more chink to the armor, so to say.
How do you begin to let someone in that armor? Like,
Man,
how?
don't do this to me.
No, I'm serious, because like I think something that we need to talk about is like how like feeling unprotected and having to be strong also affects your dating life and like your love life. So how do you let people in your armor?
We're not getting in my business on this show.
That's the part of what we do. It's called the
No, we're not
awakened
getting in my
soul. You
business.
gotta
We're
sow
not
some
getting in my
soul.
business though. For um, if for my dating life, it would depend on the person. Um, I'm not. So I've never been attracted to. Oh, that's rude. I can't say it like that. I've always been attracted to strong type of men.
Mhm.
So, not necessarily aggressive men, but more so assertive men. So it kind of puts me in a place of, okay, I can't pull the same crap I would pull on anybody type situation. Like, certain guys, you just cannot. They force you. Force is such a harsh word, but
It is.
they literally force you to not, like, you can't put up a front in front of certain guys. So some people call me on my shit. I've had very few men in my dating life be able to call me on my shit. Very few. um and I don't know if that's my fault or if that's their fault, but well, I don't know. I don't know. Oh God, this is horrible. This is so horrible.
Do you? And here's a chance to be reflective. Do you feel like the you're the fact that you don't really feel protected by anyone outside your circle typically,
Mhm.
and the fact of how strong you have to be and how you feel about vulnerability, has that ever? Do you think that that's ever pushed someone away?
um Damn. Maybe, maybe, possibly. Were
So
they
do
worth keeping? Probably not. But
it,
but yeah, I've had instances where I've had a guy tell me I'm just too strong. That
Mhm.
he's like, I can't. He's like, he couldn't deal. And I get it. I understood it. He's also a weakling, but still, I get it.
Come on now.
No, he was like, there was a lot of damage in that relationship. There was a lot of toxicity in that relationship. And I
Okay.
think him telling me that was his way of lashing out to me,
Hmm.
because I had reached a point where I was like, okay, well, I just can't deal with this shit anymore. And I just completely emotionally disconnected from the situation. So I
Yes.
think that was his way of, okay, well, this is how I'm gonna get her and be like, she's too much.
That
But he
makes
was a
sense.
wuss.
That makes sense. Do you
Yeah.
think um do you think that your, I don't want to say inability, that sounds negative, but your desire,
You
not
could
to
say
say,
inability. I don't take
yeah, okay,
offense.
your inability at times to be vulnerable, do you think that how does that make you feel about a man showing vulnerability to you? Do you look at a man being vulnerable to you as, oh,
A
that's this is
weakness?
a weak dude?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I actually don't. In my 20s, yes. As an
Uh,
adult, no. Absolutely not. If anything, I find it very admirable, and I would probably try to learn from that.
okay.
Yeah, that would probably put me more at ease than anything else. Like, I remember in my younger years, like if a dude cried in front of me, I would be like, okay, sir, this is just not it. We just not gonna work out.
That
And
is
I've had
terrible.
a dude cry in front of me, like he boohoo cried in front of me plenty of times, because he just, and I was a bitch back then. I'm not gonna lie, I was a bitch. But now I think that's a very I'm almost envious of that to some degree, because I feel like that's a freeing thing when you can trust somebody that much that you can be that open with somebody.
Hmm.
So I want to get there. I'm working on it. Since you all in my damn business. This is just
That's what this is
horrible.
for. What did
No,
you
we were not.
expect?
No, we did not talk about getting in my business.
You act like you don't
See this?
listen to the Awaken, so I get on everybody's business. That's what
No,
I
but
do.
we're not getting in my business. I'm
Okay.
different. We don't get in my business.
You
Not on air. We could have talked about this in private. We could have discussed this in private.
So what? Okay, so to get back out of your business, I guess.
Thank you.
Um, who protects the protector? What What are some of the things that you would suggest to men without bashing? Because I feel it
I
brewing.
don't bash.
I'm just
No,
talking.
I don't. Let me tell you
You
something.
really don't. You really don't.
I try very hard not to, because I try to be objective. I try to see things from both sides, because I get it. Sometimes it's not easy, and sometimes you can't. If you feel like you're disenfranchised and you're not being helped, how can you help the next person, right? Because black men will always tell you about their struggle in this country, right? Or in this life period. Like they're a black man, they can't walk outside, they can't whatever. And I think that something I said when I posted this on Facebook, I think it was, nobody protects a black man like a black woman. And I think I said that when Kanye first started losing his mind, right? Oh, that's rude. I can't say lose his mind because he really does have mental issues. But when Kanye first started acting a fool on social media and nobody knew what was going on with him,
Hmm.
the first thing out of my mind was like, he needs a black woman around him. You know, his mom is gone. He doesn't have his mom. He needs somebody's nana to grab him and put him up against her bosom, because um, while everybody wants our men, they can't handle our men, if that makes any sense.
Mm.
Because Kim, to this day, I don't think she's done anything. Kanye has turned to church at this point. Like he can't. He has turned to God at this point. And what is Kim doing? Kim is just, oh, I support my husband, but they're supporting your husband and there's telling your husband, hey, you need to calm the hell down. You acting a damn fool. What do we need to do to fix this? And that's
Yeah.
what black women do. We will support you in public, but we will tear into your ass in private. We will tell you, hey, you tripping. Like you is embarrassing the family. What do we need to do to fix this? And I don't think any other demographic of women do that for our black men. Case in point, AB. He is losing his freaking mind right now. We don't know what the hell's going on with AB, but we know there's this white woman who can't handle him, and she can't do anything to help him. He done fell off the deep end. And that's not to knock white women. Don't come for me, please. I'm just speaking from a black woman's place. Y'all can't, you want our men, but you can't handle them. But then our men, y'all come to us for comfort. Y'all come to
Uh-huh.
us for uplifting. You guys come to us for support and to raise you guys up. But then once y'all are up there, some of y'all shit on us. like we not good enough, like we weren't here, like we did not sacrifice for you guys.
That's powerful. What does
Yeah.
that make? What? How does that make you feel as a black woman when you see um a black man kind of leave or gravitate towards other races because they can't deal with black women, and then they bash black women at that? Like, I'm trying to think of an example. I can't, because when those fools tweet shit, usually I mute them after that point, because
Yeah,
I just
you
hate
kind of
this.
have
I
to.
hate to see a black person put down a black woman like you didn't come out of black vagina. Like, that shit is something that will piss me the
I
fuck
guess they
off.
feel like their mom was is a an exception to the rule. Some of them feel like that's what their mamas are. Some of y'all mamas ain't shit. But anyway, um,
Oh my
but
god.
anyway, it's devastating to me
Okay.
because we, and at the core of it, we really don't care if you go and love somebody. Love who you want. That's your business. But you don't have to shit on us to go love who you want. Don't say that you can't, you go to white women because they're more submissive, and black women are too mouthy and they're too this. That anytime I see something like that, that tells me that you as a black man cannot handle a black woman. But then you get super duper upset when you see other races come and they adore us, and they quote unquote worship us like we're goddesses or whatever the case is. Look at what they did to Serena. Like, black men lost their damn mind when Serena Williams married her husband, and this man adores her. Ain't now one of y'all ever treated her like that, ever. Did Drake ever come out and say he adores Serena? Did Common ever
Common
come? And
did.
I love Common. Common did. But Common is very private too, so I can't knock him. But did Drake ever come out and him?
Drake don't love himself.
Let's not get started on.
Am
Let's
I
leave her
wrong? You
alone.
didn't say I was
Let's
wrong
leave
though.
let's leave Aubrey
You
alone
didn't.
right now.
Okay.
She does not love herself. We know she doesn't. What is going on here? We know she doesn't. But yeah, everybody came for Serena. Oh, she gonna get with this white man and da da da. She shitting on black men. Y'all didn't want her. She went to who wanted her. I unfortunately can't do that. So,
I would pay to see you with a white man, because that
oh,
dude, you,
why?
because you would get annoyed after somebody just being too damn scared of you. I could see you being like, you know what,
First of
you
all,
ain't
I don't want you
you.
to think that I'm like this pit bull walking around and just snapping
I
at
know you're
people, because
not.
I'm
I
not.
don't think you snap. I just know that you respect strength, and you couldn't do
I can't be with a white man.
it.
It's not, I've never been attracted to a white man ever in my life. I can say one is handsome. I can say one is cute, but I have never been attracted enough to a white man that I would want to put my lips on him or allow him to insert his penis into this great Pikachu that I have. I just, it just
Okay,
doesn't
this
go.
is not love, lust, and badass soul.
Whatever, we're here, but you got in my business. I've never been attracted to a white man ever. I think black men are the most beautiful creatures on this earth. I love black men,
Thank
even
you.
when
I
they
am.
don't love me back. Excuse me?
Um,
Huh?
huh?
Why did I
Oh
agree
man,
to this?
I don't know why you did either. All right, so we're getting ready to wrap up, but one thing I want to ask you is this: do you think that black men are emotionally equipped to truly protect a black woman? Because physically is one thing. We can be physically strong all we want to and physically protect, but I feel like I always say that, have the saying with, like, in relationships in general, you got to feed someone's mental and emotional health as well.
I agree.
But do you think black men to truly protect someone else's mental and emotional, a black woman's emotional? Because as you said, sometimes you guys can be unstable emotionally. Do you think that we are, that most black men are, that in your experience, that black men are emotionally equipped to protect a black woman?
No, I don't. And I think that's where the problem is.
Mhm.
I think that's exactly where the problem is. I think it's because they're not emotionally equipped to handle it, because I don't know. I think black men have been scarred for so long with so many different things that I feel like a lot of you guys are in this space of, well, damn, now it's about me. Like, I need to, I don't know. I think you guys are kind of like in this selfish, very egotistical space. So, and I don't think, and because they don't feel like they're doing anything wrong, they don't feel like there's anything wrong, because what's the first step to fixing a problem, right? Is admitting that there is one. And I don't think they feel like there is a problem. So, as long as they don't want to admit that, no, I don't think, no. Emotionally, oh, definitely not emotionally. There's so many layers to it though.
Yeah.
I feel like there's so many different layers to it, because I don't know. I don't know what we did to y'all. What did we do to y'all for y'all to treat us this way? Like, I don't get it.
What do you mean? I think
You're a black man, so speak from a black
well,
man's
no. Well,
perspective.
that's
Not
the thing.
necessarily
I
your
don't.
own, because I don't think you're like that, but
I
from
think
other black men of your acquaintance.
I think black men aren't given the space and opportunity to develop emotionally most times. For most of us, I don't think that we are. I don't think that that comes later in life for us, and because of that, unfortunately, black women have to suffer through us learning how to be emotional, or even get in touch with, or admit that we have emotions. And unfortunately, we penalize you guys for that. So like when you guys have those shitty relationships from 19 to 29, that's because usually that's the time that black men are just learning the things that you guys learn emotionally as teenagers. We just don't. We're so look, this is what I want, this is what I'll say, is when you look at even how a black man versus a black woman goes through puberty, right?
Mm-hmm.
You guys are immediately thrust almost into periods, which then you have to learn how to
Starting
deal
at the
with it.
age of 9 for some of us.
Yeah, my daughter, for example,
Ugh,
Alana, she started at 9.
First of all, she did not want you to put her business out there like
I
that.
put it on
Thank you
Twitter the
very
day it
much.
happened because I was freaking out.
Don't do that.
So
Don't do that.
but so that happens to you guys, and you guys immediately are thrust in this position of, all right, what's happening with my body? XYZ, how does this happen? Men, we may go through like our joints hurt and stuff, but when we go through our puberty, what are we doing? We're jacking the fuck off.
Y'all jacking off.
You feel me? And so we train our brains then to deal with pleasure first, right? As you guys deal with pain first. Do you see? And it's on such, and people say that I'm thinking too much, because I've said this before, not on the podcast. People are like, you just think about that too much. Black men in puberty deal with it through sex, jacking off, trying to get head, chasing females. So we deal with it through pleasure.
And that's where all your egos is located too.
Black women,
I get it,
go through pain first, and through pain comes growth, right? You have to grow. You have to usually, unfortunately, grow through pain. So with you guys going through that pain, you guys become women way faster than we become men. We're still boys. Basically, when we're jacking off and chasing after pussy, we've done is pass off Snickers and sweets for pussy at that point. And because of that, we're still in very much a childlike mindset. Sure, what we're chasing now and the high that we're chasing, the endorphins that we're chasing are more mature, but we're not really maturing. We're still just chasing that same high like we did when we were getting candy drunk. That's all it is. And so
I agree with you.
And so what we usually, when we go through that pain growth, it's usually through a woman tired of dealing with our shit, or we get tired of seeing the woman that we do love hurt because of our dumbasses not maturing, and then we start maturing and emotionally catching up with you guys, because it's still that growth comes through pain.
That's a fair point.
So
I agree with you. I agree. So what suggest to your brothers out here on how to deal with black women?
I think we have to try to be different with our sons. Like I said this before the other day, like I'm always affectionate with my sons, and that's because my dad was a great man. He was one of those, put some dirt on and keep moving. Like I'm very affectionate, and I teach them it's okay to feel. When they have their upset moments, it's not, hey, just get past it. It's, all right, why do you feel that way? Now let's work through it. Let's understand our emotions. I think that's the only way that I can see with it, because some people my age and older, I have a 40-year-old cousin whose emotional intelligence is at a 5-year-old level, and it's just never going to change. This man has went through relationship to marriage to having daughters, having kids, XYZ, and he still does not get it at all. So it's like,
it's not something you can teach. But
Yes.
it goes back to what I said. Like, unless you acknowledge that there is a problem, then there won't be any steps taken towards the solution. And what you said is very true, and it's very powerful. What you said, that it is okay to feel, and we don't allow our black boys, our black men, that space to be able to feel,
Mhm.
or to be able to express themselves if they need to, because y'all are not allowed to get emotional. Y'all are not allowed to cry. Y'all are not allowed to, to show sorrow or anything like that. It's either you guys are angry or y'all are okay. You guys, it's either one extreme or the other. You guys don't get any in between.
Yeah.
Get in touch with y'all feminine side sometimes. It's okay.
Listen, that shit took so forever for me. And well, let me not say forever because I had daughters early on, and I cried like a baby when my daughter was born, and that was the moment where I was like, all right, this shit is okay.
But I think men who have daughters are, I think they tap into their emotions a little bit sooner, or a little bit not, I wouldn't say completely, but like a little bit sooner that they'll tap into their
Mhm.
because little girls have a way of turning some of the strongest men I've seen into like
The
little,
biggest, yeah,
y'all are like little kittens around your daughters, like, and it's a very amazing thing to watch. And a lot of men that I know who have daughters, they will say that they would not trade that ever, because it's just something about having a daughter that's just amazing. And a lot of, like, I have one friend, he had twin daughters, and he was like, he didn't know what love was until he had his daughters. Here he was married to somebody, he didn't even understand what love was, being married, but once he had his daughters, he started to understand.
it's
So I get
crazy.
it.
Yeah,
I know it's crazy. I get it. I say have a conversation. Communication is always key. um Women, try not to bash men, and men, don't be bashing us back. Like, that shit is dumb. There's no reason for us to be bashing each other, because at the end of the day, it's the world against us.
there you go. That's what it all boils down to, is that it's us against the world. And on the episode that I need to upload since I'm late, of the Awakened Soul that'll be going up tonight, actually kind of talk about that and touch on the fact that I'm not celebrating Black History Month the same way that all people do, because
Why?
every fucking month is Black History Month. We built this
You
country.
fucking right. You
So
absolutely fucking
how
right.
how dare you allot us a month when we built
The
this shit?
shortest at that.
Yeah. So, but
I
you gotta listen
mean,
to the episode. I ain't gonna get that too much away for free
no, why you can't tell me some of the key
because you're gonna
points?
listen anyway.
So what? I don't like surprises. Give me a preview. Something.
I just did. There you go.
You got all in my business. You can give me a little bit more than that.
No, you're gonna have to. No, you're gonna have to wait to an opportunity where you can be all in my business. So, I purposely on this episode did not put what I've been doing with first time guests this time, where they get to ask me anything. I didn't put that on
Why?
yours because you gonna get all in my shit, and I'm not emotionally prepared for that right now. I'm
Wait a
fasting.
minute.
I haven't eaten.
Wait a minute. And I was gonna ask you too. I'm like, how do I not get a question?
Mm-mm.
Hmm, This, you know what?
It's real
Our
because I know
relationship is
you.
not balanced.
I,
You
I
don't.
I
No,
know
you
you,
don't.
and you don't play. So I ain't got time for that right now in my
So you
emotional
don't
state.
want me, so you can get in my business in front of all these people, but I can't get back in yours.
That is 100% fact for right now, just right now.
After I came out of early retirement for you.
Mhm.
All right. Thank you, Hayes.
Well, I know you don't like the Twitter machine, but do you want to plug your social media so they can follow you?
Instagram is Lady Marla 417, because I changed it last week. I don't know why, but I feel like there's something coming out of that. But yeah, just follow me on Instagram. My Facebook is for my mom and them, so you can't follow me there. And that's it. I mean, but my Twitter is Lady M417. I mean, I do have a Twitter handle. I just don't use it,
Mhm.
especially now that I'm not podcasting. Well, maybe not podcasting anymore, but
Let's see about that. I got
well,
some other
what?
plans for you. But we're just gonna go ahead and
No,
leave.
see, you've been plotting on me since 2019, and I'm, you know what? One thing I will say, I appreciate you letting me take the entire month of January off to not do anything.
Respect.
I
Respect.
tell this nigga I need a break, and he's like, "All right, I'll give you January." And then soon as February come around, February 1st sends me a damn text message knowing damn well I'm not gonna want to sit out on this conversation. I'm like, "Oh, this is great. Yes, of course. When do you want to record?" Got me forgetting I'm in retirement.
Hey, I'm a motivator. That's all I can say.
I ain't gonna say what I was gonna say after that. Go.
That. So like when you guys have those shitty relationships, you guys can follow me at CEO Hayes. It's at CEOHAIZE. You can follow the podcast at Awaken Soul Pod or at The Awaken Soul Pod, just depending on where you're looking for us at. You can also send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, theawakensoulpod@gmail.com. And lastly, if you want to send us a voicemail, the number for that is 614-547-2039.
Straight
And
off
we're
the
out.
dome. Professional ass motherfucker that you are.
Hey, they don't call me CEO for nothing.
Bye, man. Come on, bye. I'm not doing this. Bye.
Off and chasing after pussy, off trying.
This has been a presentation of the Breaks Media.